Hello, welcome to a new video. This is a video of a complication, a pretty severe complication that I had in a surgery. It was my second attempt for a case, so keep that in mind because I was still really very inexperienced. I had only completed one complete full case without help, and this case I really don't count it as a completed case because I had a complication towards the end that I could not manage, and the attending surgeon had to take the lead. So yeah, basically here it's a 90-year-old patient which had a prostate cancer. This was one of the errors of the surgery. Before the surgery, I saw the patient. I went to talk to him, and I already saw in his face, this man of 90 years old with a very light colored iris, which hadn't dilated much, prostate cancer, and I already had this idea of possible iris prolapse. But the attending surgeon, which is a really experienced surgeon, more than 40 years training new residents, he is very well known for letting lots of cases for the residents and letting them go really far in the case, even though it's getting hard. And he just told me to go through it and try to do my best, and if not, he would take over. So yeah, here I start. I put the OVD in the anterior chamber. I think I over pressurized a lot, which was one of the main problems during the surgery, which makes it harder afterwards. I just start with the capsulorhexis, which goes pretty nicely without many problems. Here I didn't put phenylephrine in the first part, which was one of the complete errors, because I already had that idea of a possible iris prolapse, and that I should have prevented by putting the phenylephrine in the first place, which I did not, which was a pretty noob error. So yeah, here I finished the capsulorhexis. It finished pretty nicely. And now when I take the OVD out, the iris starts to prolapse. It was the first iris prolapse I had managed. Honestly, in this moment, my attending surgeon, he should have taken over because it was my second case. I'm really inexperienced, but he let me try to manage it, which honestly, for my formation, for my training, it's good training, but for the patient, it should have taken over, at least to minimize the possible risks. Here I was trying to take out the pressure in the anterior chamber, which I had put too much OVD in by depressing the incisions, both the paracentesis and the main incision, but I was not able to get all the OVD out, and the iris continued to prolapse. Here I also tried to depress the paracentesis, but not being really effective. When I saw the video, I saw that I was not really depressing it. I was just pushing forward and not getting that OVD out. Here I managed to get the iris in, but again it continues to go out. So yeah, I was here struggling. Honestly, I was sweating quite a lot, and yeah, I was trying with the cannula to get as much out. I knew the theory. I have seen hundreds of videos, and I know the theory of trying to tap the main incision or get lower the pressure inside the anterior chamber through the paracentesis, or get a little bit of OVD inside. Here I managed to get more OVD out, and then the iris can return perfectly. So yeah, I knew the theory, but the practice was not great. And yeah, now the iris is back into the eye again, and I go for the hydrodissection. Well, at this point I think we put the phenylephrine in, and yeah, I start with the hydrodissection and the hydrodelineation. Now when the chamber is already with not so much pressure, the iris doesn't prolapse so much. Honestly, I should have put a little bit of OVD on top of the iris, and when doing these maneuvers, I was trying to move the cannula from side to side to not let the iris prolapse, and also depressing the main incision to let the BSS out and not getting too much of pressure inside the eye. But yeah, still the iris tends to prolapse a lot, and yeah, it's pretty hard to see, but at the end the nucleus rotates. But yes, it continues to prolapse. I think here maybe is when we put the phenylephrine in. I continue to hydrodissect. I got a little bit more of PSS, and yes, at the end, the iris, the nucleus rotated pretty nicely, and the iris was inside the eye, and so I start with the divide and conquer. Here having a little bit of trouble getting the probe in. I get the probe in and I get the iris. So I have to be very careful in these cases when putting the probe in, the phaco. And here I start with the groove, the central groove. The visualization is not great, but I think it goes pretty nicely. I break more or less. There you see it breaks pretty nicely. I rotate. I still don't, in this case I wasn't putting the instruments too deep, but the cataract was a little bit harder, so I had an easier time breaking. Here I also break. And yes, I start with the quadrants. I do another groove. I divide the another quarters, and here I start with the quadrants. They come out pretty easily, and this, honestly, I thought I had managed through the case. I was pretty comfortable here. The iris was in its place, although it already was behaving strange, and everything was going well at this point, and I thought the hard times had gone past, but I was completely wrong. So here I get the epinucleus out, pretty standard, really nice. Protecting with my left hand behind, and now I go with the AI probe. And the severe complication happens at the end, you will see now. And yes, here I go with the AI probe, and I get all of the nucleus out. This video is ×3 speed, so it was like a 25-minute case. Well, it was longer, but my part was like a 30-minute case. And here I get the epinucleus out, the cortex out, sorry. And here was one of the problems also. I couldn't get the subincisional cortex out because honestly I'm not too skilled now. And what my attendant surgeon tells me is to put some viscoelastic behind the cortex, so I get it up, and when I put the lens in, I can take it out without much of a problem. Which was also one of the errors I think I made, because when I placed the OVD behind the cortex, you will see now, here I'm still trying to take it out with the AI probe. When I put the viscoelastic behind the subincisional cortex, I get that iris plane up into the main incision. Here at this point, honestly, you see here I put the OVD behind that cortex, and I get that subincisional iris a little bit towards the incision, which makes it easier for this complication that you're going to see now. Honestly, I was not aware that this could happen. Here you will see the iris completely detached when putting the lens in, hypema, and complete disaster. And at the end, my attendant surgeon took over and made everything go well. At the end, the patient is seeing pretty well. The first days he had a hypema, he was seeing really badly, but throughout the month he started to get better, and he has now a pupillary defect right in the subincisional area, but he is not too aware of these photopsias or anything, and his visual acuity is pretty decent. It's like 0.8, which he's more or less happy, because the day after he was seeing really, really bad. So yeah, I'm gonna go through a little bit of my errors. Here, the first and most important errors is identifying and preventing complications, because I already knew this patient was going to have a floppy iris from the moment I saw him in the waiting room, and I should have put phenylephrine in the first moment. So yeah, that was one of the complications. The other complication was overpressurizing the anterior chamber with the OVD, which makes it easier for that iris to prolapse afterwards. In these cases, I should do the main incision a little bit more in the corneal plane and not so much on the limbal plane, and not overpressurizing so much. Another error was obviously managing the iris prolapse. It was the first iris prolapse I had in my life, and I honestly didn't manage it well, but it's because I'm not too skilled now, and honestly my attending surgeon should have taken over and taken over the case and from this point, but he honestly left me do it, and and the final and most important problem, the lens delivery. The most important problem here is that I was not aware that a complication could happen here. So yeah, not being aware of a complication, it's the biggest error for you to having that complication. So yeah, also I should use my manipulator and inject the lens much softer and much slower, and being sure that I don't get that iris when injecting the lens. So yeah, this was the case. Honestly, at the end it went more or less well. The patient is seeing pretty nicely, and he's not he's more or less happy. And yeah, if you have any comments or any suggestions on what I should have done, keep in mind this was my second case, and obviously I'm not a really skilled surgeon. I'm still in the starting phase of my learning curve, so any suggestions that you have, they will be very more than welcome. And yeah, thank you for watching.